And what do you say to your critics who say that this reform was designed in part for you to protect yourself against these corruption charges you've been facing?
I think it's ridiculous. It has nothing to do with my trial because it's been proceeding for 3 years. It's actually unraveling. I don't know if you know that a few weeks ago, the 3 judges called in the prosecution and said, listen, we haven't heard yet of any of the defense witnesses, but we're telling you, drop the bribery charge. That's the main charge. You should drop it right now. So look, I have only one request for my trial that hasn't been met so far, that we have live television coverage of the trial. It's the best show in town. This has nothing to do with my trial. It's a bogus charge. This is something that concerns millions of Israelis who for the last 20 years feel that they're going to the polls, they're voting in a government, they're voting in for policies that are then nullified by a judiciary that basically arrogated itself the powers of the majority. And that I don't think is right for a democracy. That's what's driving this reform, not my individual case, which is proceeding fine.
The president of Israel was in Washington last week, met with President Biden. You have not been invited to the White House. Is that a snub?
I think President Biden I know that President Biden in the last conversation we had invited me to the White House in the fall. I think it's in September, but we'll finalize a date. Look, I think our relations are very strong. I'm not just saying that. I think the cooperation on intelligence, on security, on strategic matters is as strong as it's ever been. I can tell you that we're working on things that I think will change history. Specifically, we're trying to block Iran's aggression, but also advance peace with Saudi Arabia, which in addition to the historic Abraham Accords with 4 Arab countries is changing the Middle East. And I think this will change the world. I think this will be a pivot of history. We're working on it. So I think the relations with the U.S. are as strong as ever. And believe me, the U.S. is our irreplaceable and indispensable ally. We have no better friend. And I can tell you that the United States has no better friend than Israel, not only in the Middle East, but in the world. As we move into a highly technological world, the strength of democracy is that we voice these divisions, we protest, but ultimately we make important democratic decisions, and that'll be the case in Israel as well.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your time this morning.